is none other than Powerhouse, Acting Justice of the New York State Supreme Court, New York County, none other than the Honorable Judge Michelle Sweeting. Now I need those in the House of Justice who still remain. I'm going to end it the way in which Reverend Al Sharpton began it, and that is I need you all on your feet to say, what do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do you want? Justice. And when do you want it? Now. Last time, what do you want? Justice. And when do you want it? Now. You can be seated because I am happy, delighted, and proud to say that you have now gotten what you've asked for, which is justice by the name of Justice J. Michelle Sweeting, who stands here before you. Now, we have redefined what the now means, in that when I arrived at around 12 noon, I thought justice was going to be now. I didn't know, Derek and Reverend Sharpton, that it would be 5.5 hours later. But most certainly those who are seated here know that justice delayed is justice denied. So I, as an acting Supreme Court Justice in the New York State Supreme Court, arrived, one, on time, two, stayed until the end because I needed to be here to cement and anchor that of justice. I've heard each of the speakers on the two layers and branches of government, that is, the executive spoke, the legislator spoke, but now you must hear from the third branch of government, and that is the judiciary. Now, oftentimes the judges are overlooked, the judges are not seen, and the judges are not heard. But it's important to know that I, as a judge, exercise that one skill that many others may be lacking, and that is I listen more than I speak. But when I do speak, I speak with the power and the authority of the community that made me a justice, and that is none other than the National Action Network, where I served for legal night with attorney Michael Hardy. It's none other than with the NAACP, and you saw Mama Dukes, who had just left the room. There are those who had to leave to go home, but as a justice, I turn around and see on the wall, I am home in the House of Justice. Dr. King, as you all know, and you've heard him quoted in speeches and letters, well, guess what? His most important missive was written from none other than from the Birmingham jail. He could not have written that letter but for the order, but for the enactment, but for a ruling by a judge. So it's important that when we say no justice, no peace, that you can have peace be when you know that there's a judge who moves toward justice. And with that, we say that we have to be very careful about the no's that we put before the word justice. There are some who will say that no, we don't want to have a prosecutor, but you all were here today when you heard from our illustrious prosecutors, none other than from the Bronx, Darcel Clark, Alvin Bragg from Manhattan, and if he were still alive, Kenneth Thompson from Brooklyn. We have to be mindful of the no's that we put before justice, because if there were still a no, there would not be myself, the first African-American female justice to serve in New York County Family Court since 1939. If we still had no's before the word justice, we would not have the Honorable Ketanji Brown Jackson, who sits on the United States Supreme Court. So we have to be careful the word no's that we put before justice, but know this: with the K-N-O-W, that it's nights like this that we give honor to Dr. King and his legacy. It's on nights like this that we rise by way of National Action Network and the work that we do here. We have peace. We have peace because no justice, no peace. But we have peace because people like you have put someone like me from the village of Harlem, from the Polo Ground houses, from now Esplanade Gardens on the bench, that you can have peace, that you have a justice. It's with that that I say Happy King Day to each and every one of you from the third branch of government, the judiciary. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just a couple of announcements. One, thank you all for being with us and staying here and being so patient. On this fantastic King Day, the youth huddle will be departing from the back momentarily to go over to the King statue, which is 1 block over from us, for their prayer vigil. This Saturday, and every Saturday, 9 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m. is our Saturday Action Rally. If this is your first time at the House of Justice, it does not have to be your last. As we gather and commune each and every Saturday, and you're more than welcome to join us. Also, our membership team, for those of you who have been asking and looking for membership information, is to my left, midway through the back, and is there to service you. God bless you all. Have a fantastic weekend and stay in the action, just as Dr. King did. God bless. Have a good night.